Hi, we are Pam and Glynn. We've been fostering for 13 years now, predominantly teenagers. We currently have 4 boys in placement, although one of them isn't a teenager, but he came as an emergency on the day of lockdown with COVID, so the department don't want to be moving children around in this, so he's still with us. We have, I don't know how many children exactly we've had in the house, we don't tend to count, but we have experienced lots of types of fostering. So we are long-term foster carers, that's our approval, but we have also done emergency fostering, placement breakdown fostering, which usually ends up as an emergency, and respite. Our son, who was 14 at the time, and he's now 28, we've looked after so many of our son's friends in different situations that when he was 14, he saw an advert for Plymouth Local Authority asking for foster carers, and he said that if we didn't call in, he would. So it was him. The most significant benefit of being foster carers is knowing that you're helping vulnerable children to achieve something, and being able to have them go into the community when they move into independence and be able to perform and live life normally. My advice to anybody thinking about fostering is to, in the first instance, the website is amazing for fostering on Plymouth City Council website, and does answer a lot of the questions, but there's always somebody lovely and supportive at the end of the phone, and they will be able to give any information that's needed. But there are lots of foster carers that are willing to speak to people that are thinking about it, especially if they are concerned about anything.
Yeah,
how did the family adapt? It was it was well,
they've all embraced it.
Yeah, they have. Our oldest sons will become foster carers, we know they will, our birth sons, but yeah, it was a bit challenging at first because we have 2 birth sons and we fostered teenage girls, so it was a bit challenging at first. There were lots of things that we needed to change for safer caring and to safeguard everybody in the house, but we all grew into it as a family.
And the wider family as well.
Yeah, our wider families, they're all very accepting of our foster kids. Fostering has impacted our life in many ways, but I think mainly because this is a way of life for us, and we live it every day. It's not a job. We have embedded ourselves massively in fostering, and I am a corporate parent, I'm a buddy, so it does take up, it isn't just looking after the children. There's a lot of other things that I do inside the fostering department, so yeah, it's had a massive impact, but I love it. We both love it. Yeah.
We do.
We went to Plymouth City Council because I didn't actually know there were fostering agencies. I didn't know they existed, and the advert was for Plymouth City Council. The training and support is fantastic.
Second to none, really.
It is second to none. There isn't a heading to do of a course to do with fostering that Glenn and I haven't attended, and some of it we've done 2-3 times because it is so informative, and I really believe that we wouldn't be the foster carers that we are without the training that we've done and the support. We foster teenagers, that can be a difficult place sometimes, and we need to know the support is in place, and we've never been failed.
And also our birth sons have done it as well, some of the training.
Yeah, our birth sons have been involved in the training, so yeah, they do safer caring training, first aid, and yeah, I think they've done a couple of others, haven't they? Yeah. I think the biggest one for me, because I buddy a lot of new carers, is their fear of being registered as a foster carer and their first placement being some unruly, difficult teenager, and that's not the way it works. We have an amazing matching team in the department that will have already looked into the paperwork of the carers and try to match a child accordingly. The idea is not to overwhelm new carers, it's not to scare them off in their first, couple of months of fostering, so they are matched carefully with a child that they can manage. Having birth children, when you decide to foster, is carefully thought out, because they will never put a child in placement with you if you've got your own birth children that is older than your children. Your children have always got to feel like that is their place, so they will always be younger than your birth children. We're Christians, we're careful how we manage our faith as not to overwhelm any of the children that come into the house. We're not actually churchgoers, so the children are not taken to church, but if they ask to go to church, then we would take them, the church of their choice. But no, faith doesn't come into it. No, just the same as faith doesn't come into it, neither does sexuality. We have some amazing carers that are same-sex couples. Yes, your ethnicity means nothing to the fostering department. Again, we have some amazing foster carers from all over the world. You don't need to own your own home at all, and you don't even have to have a job. You can be on benefits, you can be a single carer. So no, owning your own home, you just need to have a spare bedroom and be over 21. The financial support for a carer is based on the age of the child and the needs of the child. So there's a generous allowance that allows you to take that child into your home and you not to be struggling financially. A single carer taking a new child in is a little bit more complicated, and that's where they're probably going to need support, because initially taking a child in, there are lots of meetings and appointments and phone calls and reports, and if the foster carer is working, then they're going to need support in order to meet all of those expectations for a child. But then it settles down, and so your meetings, like a standard review for a child, is every 6 months. So then it does settle down into a pattern. But definitely for a single carer, it's just a little bit more complicated if they work. But they just need support, and that's what we're here for. The support that you receive comes from lots of angles. It's predominantly from your partner, for a start, if you have one. Always your supervisor and social worker. You're allocated a supervisor and social worker at the onset of fostering. Also the child social worker. And then you are able to be part of a forum, a support group. You'll make your own network of friends, and then hopefully you'll have wider family that can support you too. But they also, the department use outside agencies for support, but we've never felt let down at all, and we've had some tough situations, haven't we?
We have had a few, but we've got through.
Yeah, but we've had amazing support. Yeah. You don't need to have had experience looking after them, but I would definitely recommend that even if you have, that doesn't always prepare you to be looking after a vulnerable child. So my advice would always to be never try and foster in isolation. You need to go to training. You need to be trained. There's lots of areas about foster children that you would manage so much better with training.
If you're interested in fostering for Plymouth, contact us today.